Hello, young fellows. The legend I'm about to share is widely known in Latin America. There are numerous iterations of this story, but all agree that it revolves around the specter of a woman whose sorrowful cries would terrify even the bravest souls. Prepare yourself, dim the lights, and join me on this journey into the realm of terror. Life took a sudden turn when I was orphaned at a tender age. It was a road accident, a moment of chaos when my brother's dispute led to a fatal push, altering the course of our lives. The truck, once a symbol of our family outings, now lay overturned, with only me left to bear witness. In a heartbeat, a senseless quarrel robbed me of my family. I can still see the fear in my mother's eyes as she closed them for the last time. The weight of such a loss is a burden that never truly lifts. Yet in the face of such adversity, I found a new family in my relatives. They embraced me as one of their own, and my cousins became my brothers. It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, even in the darkest of times. Although I was never very smart, I was committed and persevering. So, having my degree in history is one of my greatest achievements. Having the opportunity to study history is incredible. You learn very interesting things. One of the things I liked most was discussing myths and legends. Some of my latest works were precisely about all those myths, but from a point of view wholly removed from the paranormal. Having pored over countless books of stories, I can confidently assert that the legend of the Weeping Woman, or La Llorona, is remarkably prevalent across the American continent. Indeed, various investigations have been carried out to find the origin of such a memorable myth. The earliest known mention of La Llorona dates back to Montezuma II's reign over Mexican territory. History says that the ruler suffered from recurring and vivid nightmares that tormented him. Those dark dreams were instead premonitions about the Spanish conquest that would come a decade later. It is assumed that, during a meeting of Montezuma with his generals, it came up that there was a woman who appeared crying and lamenting during the nights near the now-known Lake Texcoco. Someone thought to suggest that possibly the moans of that woman could have some relationship with the nightmares. It is said that Montezuma immediately ordered an investigation into the mysterious female. Those who lived nearby reported that the apparition's constant lamentations were filled with a deep sense of loss and longing for her children. It is presumed that Montezuma associated that woman with an ancient goddess, the goddess of motherhood. What Montezuma could not interpret was the reason for the goddess's appearance, who was tentatively trying to warn about the carnage that the Spanish conquistadors would cause when they reached the American continent. When the Spanish arrived, the woman stopped appearing in Lake Texcoco. It is assumed that it was not until after the birth of New Spain that she returned to allegedly persecute his usurped children, that is, to all the descendants of the forced and bloody crossbreeding between indigenous people and Europeans. With those words, I concluded my work. It seemed like a good ending, but unfortunately for me, one thing was still missing: meeting face to face with that ghost. My research had left me with a bittersweet taste. Yes, on a historical level, there was not much more to tell. But then I began to wonder if, by chance, there was the remote possibility that all the stories told about the apparitions of La Llorona could be real, even if just a little. Then I decided to start another investigation, but now with an open mind, away from academics. I contacted a friend studying at the Autonomous University of Mexico City and told him about what I was doing. He recommended that I travel to Xochimilco to talk to someone who might have some stories that might interest me. I asked him if he would be willing to accompany me, and he told me that he had the weekend available. There were 2 days left. On Saturday afternoon, we were already in Xochimilco. My friend took me to an old house. Inside lived a very old man. I would dare say he was over 90 years old. The man was blind. I explained to him the reason for my visit, and he cautioned me that I could ask him only 2 questions, since, according to him, La Llorona does not like to be talked about. My heart raced as I thought carefully about the questions I was going to ask. When I decided, I told them to the man, my voice trembling slightly. Where can I find it? How will I know that I have found it? He answered that the first question was very ambiguous because he said that it could appear anywhere as long as there was a river nearby, but he was certain that the canals of Xochimilco at night were an excellent place to start the search. As for the second question, he assured me that if I saw her, there would be no doubt in my mind that it was indeed La Llorona, providing a sense of certainty in the mysterious encounter. As we were leaving, the man told me one more thing. Be careful because she likes orphans. As the man uttered those unsettling words, he turned his face directly towards me. Despite his blindness, I could have sworn that his sightless eyes met mine for a fleeting moment, sending a wave of mystery and curiosity through me. How could he have known about my parents? My friend thanked the man, and we left his house. I was confused because of the last thing he had told me, so I asked my friend where he knew him from. He replied that he was an old acquaintance of his grandparents. I was trying to ignore the old man's supposed powers of divination when my friend asked me if I would go during the night. I answered yes. We walked through the streets looking for a boatman who could move us during the night. It took us only a short time to find one who accepted. He told us that we could see him at midnight. At the appointed time, we were punctual, only to find the boatman already there. He informed us that he had to cancel a prior commitment, which meant we had to pay more. This unexpected turn of events left us in a dilemma, as we had enough money but had other plans for it. We were doing that when suddenly we heard a scream, a lament accompanied by cries. For a moment I thought it was simply a woman, but when that deep scream lasted for more than a minute without stopping, I understood that it was not coming from an ordinary woman. That scream was harsh and scratchy, making me tremble with fear. I could see how my friend's pupils dilated. The boatman took a rosary out of his pants and held it tightly while he salivated. He was also scared. The lament slowly faded away until there was silence. Then another scream sounded, but it no longer seemed like crying. Rather, it sounded like desperation. That scream was grotesque, and its sound was from beyond the grave. It had a lot of echoes, and seemed to emerge from everywhere. The scream did not stop, but it sounded farther and farther away, so the boatman told us that it was better to get out of there. He leaned over the shore and ran away in terror. We didn't understand anything. Then, before our eyes, a woman began to come out of the water. I was shocked. My friend pulled me by the shirt and we started running. While fleeing, my friend kept repeating, "Run!" We stopped running when we reached a street with some people. We were still terrified, and we needed a drink. Luckily, there was a place nearby on the corner. I had never tried tequila. Well, that night I drank a lot. We weren't so nervous anymore. We were there for a long time, and then I heard that terrifying cry again. It pierced the air, sending shivers down my spine. I immediately turned to see my friend. His face told me everything. He had heard it too, but apparently we were the only ones because the rest of the people continued doing their thing as if nothing had happened. We concluded that we were imagining it and were so shocked that it was normal for our minds to play a nasty trick on us. I didn't want to continue drinking, but my friend did. Shortly before 3 in the morning, my friend was already falling over drunk, so it was time to leave. We paid, and I helped him out. I held him so he wouldn't fall while we walked. No people were on the street, only the occasional car speeding by. We'd already gone a couple of blocks when I heard a noise that set off all my alerts. Something was crawling behind us. I quickened my pace a little as I tried to listen to what that noise was. It was a strange sound, like the one a cardboard box makes when dragged. But it kept me on edge, my senses heightened. It sounded closer and closer, making me very nervous. I couldn't take it any more, so I turned around. She was there, walking towards us in her long, torn white dress, with her pale skin and lost look. My friend, who was drunk, even in that state, as soon as he saw that horrible specter, he reacted very quickly. Fortunately, we managed to escape. I haven't seen La Llorona since then, and I never plan to return to Xochimilco again.